Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Professional Skills 2. Welcome to your third week of class for Professional Skills 2. I hope you're all keeping well and having a wonderful week. This is my first time lecturing you, so I'm super excited for this class and I'm super excited to be lecturing you today. So thank you so much for taking the time this morning to join me for our class. Our class will probably run for around 40 minutes. I will just give you a rundown of what we're going to be doing today so that you know how the class will run, so that you are aware of the structure and what is expected of you today. So today we are going to be going through the content for week 3. As you all know, you have to do the prior readings for week 3, and you also have to watch the YouTube video recordings of the lessons. So week 3 is specifically linked to lesson 5 and lesson 6. Lesson 5 focusing on experiential learning, and lesson 6 focusing on how to craft a professional CV. So we're going to be focusing on that specifically today. I'll also give you time today to answer any questions that you might have relating to the module or relating to the content, or any questions that you might have from your side. I just want to note for you on a side note, I have communicated with you this week already on the WhatsApp group. As you all know, I am the one that manages the WhatsApp group. So I'm the one that shares all the information with you on a weekly basis. You are going to have workshops next week for some, if not all, of your modules. These workshops will take place on campus next week. You will be SMSed for which group you have been assigned to and when these workshops will take place. Now, I've already shared the times of the workshops with you for Professional Skills 2. So you know when those workshops will be for Professional Skills next week. It's super important that you attend these workshops. It really gives you an opportunity for face-to-face contact with the lecturer of the module. What we're going to be doing in the workshops next week is we're going to be going through all the content that we have covered up until thus far, which will include week 4, because next week will be week 4. So we'll recap the content. Just to give you an opportunity to ask any questions that you might have related to the content. We'll also be, it also will be an opportunity for you to do a question and answer session with the lecturer, and we'll also be talking about formative assessment 1, or your first brief, next week. That's also what we're going to be doing next week. So next week is a really great opportunity for you to meet your lecturer face to face, and a good opportunity to interact with your class members and with the content as well. So please know, due to COVID-19 regulations, there are multiple groups for Professional Skills 2, just because it is quite a popular module and quite a lot of students take the module. So therefore, you will be divided into a group, and each workshop session is for a duration of 2 hours. So just so that you know that. Does anyone have any questions that they would like to ask with regards to the workshops that they're unsure about? Okay, perfect. I assume silence is golden and you don't have any questions.
All good.
Okay, all good. Thanks so much for that, Eva.
Yeah, all good. Thank you.
Thanks so much. So now that more of you have joined the class, I would just like to please request that you record your attendance for me in the Zoom meeting chat by typing your name, your surname, and your student number in the meeting chat, just so that I can formally record your attendance on my side. I'll give you a few moments to do that. We're just doing it for those purposes, just because of the fact that everyone doesn't use their full details when they sign up for Zoom. So please just make sure that you record your full name, surname, and your student number in the meeting chat, just for attendance purposes. Also, kindly note that your attendance will be taken next week for the workshop, so please make sure that you do attend. It is a really great opportunity for you to really meet the lecturers face to face and interact with the content. I'll give you a few moments just to record your attendance, and then we will start off with today's lecture and going through the content, an overview of the content for lesson 5 and 6. Okay, wonderful. Thanks for those of you who have already recorded your attendance, and for those of you who can continue to do so. I really do appreciate it. So let's look a little bit at the content we're going to be covering today. We're going to be looking at lesson 5, which is in experiential learning, and that's we will start off today. So as part of your professional skills 2 module, you'll have to complete in experiential learning activity or exercise within the June-July holidays. So this means that you will have to go out to a media company and do experiential learning for a period of 2 weeks, which is inherently 18 hours, and that's inherently 2 working weeks, because one working week is 40 hours, so 2 working weeks are 80 hours. And you are going to have to go look for this experiential learning at a media company or within a media organization. So obviously it would be preferred if you do it within a media organization. However, that is not always possible. So therefore, it would also be completely acceptable if you don't necessarily do it at a media organization, but if you do it in any other organization in their media or social media or marketing department. It is important that when you do this experiential learning at a company in June, July, that you do it in an organization that relates to the degree or the course that you're currently doing. Because ultimately what this is going to do is it's ultimately going to give you valuable work exposure into the industry that you envisioned to go into. And it is going to give you, assist you really with career development. Gives you an amazing networking opportunity and really gives you an edge in your job application, and is something that you can add to your CV in after you have completed it. So it is important that you know that experiential learning is not the same as an internship. So it is important that you do not go to a company requesting an internship, because it is inherently not an internship. Experiential learning is otherwise known as work exposure. So it gives you work exposure in a specific industry. It is a work placement. You can also be working as a trainee within the organization, or you can be volunteering in the organization. It can also be in the format of job shadowing. So I would advise that as early as possible, you start looking for a company to do your experiential learning at during the June-July holiday, because that is a nice period in which you have enough and ample time to be able to do experiential learning that it doesn't impact your studies at all. So start looking for companies that you would like to do your experiential learning at. It is important that you choose a company that is easily accessible, that is close in your area, and that is something that you would like to, obviously an industry that you would like to work in that has direct relevance to your degree or the course that you are currently studying. So it is important that you make an effort to start looking for companies now. Do not leave it to last minute. If you're only going to start looking for a company in June and July, you will probably find that you won't find a company because you're leaving it to last minute. And if you don't complete your experiential learning, it will have implications for your assessments for professional skills too. So I would advise you to start early, to start looking for these companies. So start researching companies that you would like to do your experiential learning at. It's important to note that Boston Media House will provide you with a letter, an official letter that you can take to these companies that will explain the process to them, and obviously will advise them how the process works. So start looking at companies in your area that you would like to do your experiential learning at. Maybe it could be a local radio a local radio station. It can be a local newspaper. It could be an ad agency within the area, or a small marketing agency in the area, or whatever the case may be. So start reaching out. You might know of someone in the industry already. It is a really great networking opportunity. So I would advise that you start doing this sooner rather than later, just because of the fact that procrastination is never a good thing. You'll end up in June, July, and you will not be able to find a work placement. So start looking early. So be proactive in this process. It is important that you start looking for this as soon as possible. Experiential learning is super important, and the benefits thereof is that it provides valuable work exposure in an industry that you would like to go into. It assists with your career development. It provides a great networking opportunity. It helps you gain confidence in the workplace. you are able to apply your classroom learning in a practical environment. It will give you an edge in job applications because you will already have some experience in a specific industry, and it will assist you in transitioning into a job. So it is important that you really do this. So what are the tips for experiential learning? It's important that you always make a good first impression. And research indicates that people make first impressions when meeting someone. Within the first 5 to 10 seconds of meeting someone already makes a first impression. Now, when you are going to be looking for your experiential learning opportunity at an organization, you're definitely going to be judged by people making first impressions. And there are multiple things that obviously aid in making a good first impression, and we'll be looking at those specifically. So how to make a good first impression? It is first and foremost is you need to always act professionally within the environment that you are entering. And therefore, it is important that you focus on your body language, because body language is super important and really speaks volumes about the type of person who you are. It is important that you remain friendly and you treat everyone with common courtesy. If you meet someone, greet them. You do not know if they might be your boss or your colleague in the near future. It is important that you are on time and that you dress intentionally for the occasion. So rather, there's the saying that says rather overdress than underdress. Remember, you are seeking an opportunity at an organization. They do not have to give you the opportunity, and therefore it is important that you make a good first impression. So dress fit for the occasion. It is, for example, if you're going to gym, you're not going to be wearing high heels and a tight-fitting dress or a suit when you go to gym. You're going to wear active clothes when you go to gym. So this is very similar for when you are seeking employment. You need to dress fit for the occasion, and therefore you need to dress professionally. So dress is super important, and therefore you need to dress for the environment and dress intentionally. It is important that you are on time. Being on time speaks a lot about the person you are and the work ethic that you have, and make the most of it. Be professional and always be open to different opinions and listen more than what you talk. Those are the important things that you need to note about making a good first impression and really going out there and seeking an experiential learning opportunity. Those are the key things that I want you to note. So for this lesson, in order to be successful in this lesson, you need to go out and you already need to start researching companies that you would like to do your experiential learning at. The sooner you do it, the better. If you are unsure whether the company is fit, please ask and we will advise and guide you in the correct direction. So if you're unsure, ask. That's what's important. If you need assistance, ask. But it is important that you know that it is your responsibility as a student to go and seek this experiential opportunity. It is not my responsibility as a lecturer. I can merely guide you, provide assistance and support, but you have to go look for the opportunity yourself. Remember, you have to do it for a period of 2 weeks. So it is important that when you do it, that you have the time available. Therefore, we are saying to you that do it during the June-July holiday, because that is a good time where you will have ample time to just focus on your experiential learning. Related to this lecture, you also need to do 2 things. You need to complete the reflection exercise that is part of the lecture slides and the lecture that is available on YouTube. And you also need to take part in the Call Campus discussion that has been posted for you on Call Campus. So please visit the Professional Skills 2 page on Call Campus and please participate in the Lecture 5 discussion. The discussion closes on Sunday night at 23:59, so a minute before midnight. It closes on Sunday. So please make sure that you partake in the Call Campus discussion. You need to answer 2 questions in the Call Campus discussion. Firstly, what do you expect to get out of the experiential learning? And secondly, what do you expect to contribute during your experiential learning? So it's a bit of a reflection activity where you need to reflect on your upcoming experiential learning that you're going to take that's going to take place during the June-July holiday. So that's what you need to do for lesson 5. Does anyone have any questions related to lesson 5 before we move on to lesson 6?
Charlene?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, my question is, does BMH Radio count, or does it have to be a company outside of Boston Media House?
Let me ask for you and get back to you on that one specifically. I know some lecturers would indicate that it does count, but let me ask for you and give you concrete feedback on that.
Not
I'm
a
going
problem.
to make
Thank you.
notes of that on my side.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, only a pleasure. Does anyone have any other questions? Okay, going
No.
on. Yes, does anyone have any other questions? Okay, perfect. I assume silence is golden. So let's move on to lesson 6. I will ask the question about whether working at Boston radio station counts and get back to you just so that you know. But if that's the only questions, let's then move on to lesson 6. So lesson 6 is dedicated towards crafting a professional CV. This should not be new to you because you've already crafted a professional CV in Professional Skills 1. So you should all have a CV. But we're going to be looking at how do we improve your CV so that it is professional and it speaks to who you are as a person and the industry that you would like to go into. So it is important that you know that although we all have a standard CV, we always have to tweak the CV for the job that you are specifically applying, because each job requires a certain set of skills from you that you do have, but you just need to obviously focus and draw more attention to them in your CV. So it is important to know that for every job that you apply for, you tweak your CV so that it matches the job application that you are applying for. It is important that your CV is neat and it has to be honest and a truthful account of who you are, your knowledge, your skills, and your education. It's super important. Now, there are 2 ways in which you can design a CV. There's the most popular way, which is in chronological order. We obviously refer to that as reverse chronological order. And there's then the other design, which is a functional CV design that highlights your skills and your achievements. However, for you, it is important that you stick to the chronological CV design. And this is the one that is the most popular and the most widely used and the easiest to read. So when we are speaking about reverse chronological order, we are speaking about the fact that when you are looking at your education and when you are adding your job experience or your work experience, you always start with the most recent first. So you're not going to start with preschool, you're going to start with your degree and then work your way back. It is not necessary to go all the way back to preschool. You can literally go from your degree all the way back to your matric qualification. Therefore, when you are indicating your matric qualification, you can just indicate that you have matriculated at this school this year. It is not necessary for you to indicate all the subjects that you have done in high school because you are busy with a degree that supersedes what you have done in matric. So that's what we are talking about. When you also are looking at reverse chronological order, when you are looking at your job experience, we are looking at the most recent job that you have done till obviously the one that you have done first. So that is really what is important for your CV, that you follow in chronological order. So what is the important information that you have to have in your CV? It often follows the specific order. Firstly, you need to obviously have your personal details. This would include, for example, your full name and surname, your address, your ID number might be required, and your contact details, such as your cell phone number and your ID number. Please make sure that these are super relevant and reliable, because it is important to know that your prospective employer will use these 2 mediums in order to get hold of you. If you're not going to be answering your phone, or you have a different phone number that you might not answer, please don't indicate that cell phone number there. Please always indicate your primary cell phone number and your primary email address. It is also of super importance that you have a professional email address when you are adding it to your CV. A professional email address would, for example, be like mine, charlene.barnard@outlook.com. You're not going to have some email address that says hotchick135@outlook.com. That is very unprofessional. Or carenthusiast@gmail.com. Or whatever the like may be. Or queen1234@gmail.com. You have to have a professional email. It is important because prospective employers are going to be using this email address to communicate with you. So first and foremost, if you do not have a professional email address at the moment, I think it's important for you to really create a professional email address and make sure that it obviously links to your name and your surname. You also don't want the email address that is too long and too convoluted, because obviously people will make mistakes. So the simpler, the better it is. However, due to the fact that there are so many people in the world and so many different email addresses, you have to inherently be creative by also being very professional. Therefore, mine is my name and my surname with a dot in the middle. So first and foremost, craft a professional email address if you don't have one. It is important because you're also going to be using this email address from here on out to communicate with your lecturers, and it's important that you have a very professional email address. So that's a type of information that you're going to add to your personal details in your CV. You can also, for example, add your marital status, the amount of languages that you're speaking and which those are, and whether or not you have a driver's license. The information that then follows your personal details is your education. You are then going to indicate what education you have. This obviously indicates whether you've matriculated and the degree that you are currently busy with. This is then followed by the work experience that you have, the skills that you have attained, or the skills or the specific skills that you have. This can then be followed by any professional memberships if you are a member to any professional organization, such as, for example, the Journalists of South Africa, or whatever the case may be. And lastly, this is going to be followed by references. All CVs have to accompany at least 3 references, so that prospective employers can call these references to get an account of who you are as a person. Please note that if you add someone as a reference to your CV, it is important that you inform them that you have added them as a reference to your CV, or at least ask their permission, so that when a prospective employer asks them for a reference of you, they know that you have indicated them as a reference and they are able to give a true and accurate account of who you are. It is important to note that a CV should be no more than 2 pages. 2 pages are more than sufficient. It is also important to note that prospective employers are looking through thousands and thousands of CVs, and therefore they're really looking at you want to make a good first impression on your CV, and you want to have as much information as you can there in a detailed manner so that they are able to see it. I have looked at many CVs in my lifetime. I'm telling you, within the first 10 seconds of looking at a CV, I know whether or not this person should be interviewed or not. That's how little time you have to make a good impression with your CV. So therefore, it's really important that you really that your CV is a true and accurate account. It is not too lengthy. You need to avoid any spelling or grammar errors, because obviously you will also be judged on that. So there are many templates out there that you can use to create your CV. Now, Word has some templates, and Word's templates have been revised to obviously speak of a much more modern look. But Canva, which is a free online site that you can use, has thousands and thousands of CV templates that you can use, and they are really great. They are very creative, and they look very professional. So I would advise that you go look at Canva and the templates Canva has, in which you can use to create your own CV. Julia has also created a YouTube video for you on how to use Canva to obviously craft a professional CV. So please go watch her video on YouTube on how to craft a professional CV using Canva. You're also more than welcome to use Google Docs. Is also a nice tool that you can use in order to get templates in order to create your CV. Now, what I want you to do is, for next week, for your workshop, you should craft your CV. You all have CVs already, so you now need to craft a more professional CV using Canva, and you need to bring it to class next week. Or to the workshop next week. So for everyone, for next week, this is your homework that you need to do. You need to craft your professional CV on Canva and bring it to the workshop next week. Print it out and bring it to the workshop next week. In the workshop, we are going to be looking at your CV, and because obviously the CV is something that you are going to use in order to go out and seek your experiential learning for the period of 2 weeks. So everyone needs to bring their CV to the workshop next week. Print it out and bring it to the workshop. I'll be sure to remind you on the WhatsApp group so you don't forget about that. Please use Canva. You're all in the creative media space, and Canva has a large range of templates available, especially for the creative space. So please make use of that. We would all really love to see your CVs next week. Along with your CV, usually a CV is accompanied with a cover letter. And this is a cover letter is a specialized business letter. And next week in the workshop, we'll look at cover letters more in detail. Now, a cover letter is a letter that you are going to send to the prospective employer that accompanies your CV. It is written in a very formal format. So it is a formal business letter that you're going to be writing and ultimately outlines and states the position that you're going to applying for. So you're going to say, my name is Charlene Barnard. I have a master's degree in politics, and I'm applying to be a politician at this organization, job reference 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you are going to indicate what skills do you possess that speaks to the job and why you are the ideal candidate for the job that you've applied for. So you need to therefore state the position you're applying for in the company, outline your interest in the company, indicate your strengths and weaknesses and accomplishments that speak specifically to the position that you are applying for and the skills that are required for that specific position that you've applied for. And moreover, you need to end off your letter with providing reliable contact details for which the prospective employee can get a hold of you. Second to note is also important that just as we tweak our CV for every position we apply for, we also need to rewrite a cover letter for every position we apply for. Because as I stated, every position requires certain skills. And those are the skills that you need to highlight in your CV. And similarly, these are the skills that you need to highlight in your cover letter, as well as obviously the position that you are going to be applying for changes with every job application. And therefore, you need to rewrite your cover letter for every new job application. It is all good and well to have a very basic cover letter that obviously highlights most of your skills that you can then just tweak as you apply for a new job opportunity. Okay, so that's it for our lesson 6 on professional and crafting a professional CV. Does anyone have any questions they would like to ask on how to craft a professional CV, or any questions that you might have with regards to lesson 6?
I have a question, Charlene.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sometimes when you're applying for a job, it doesn't specify that you should send through a cover letter. Do you have to send a cover letter even when it's not asked of you? Do you send it anyways?
Yes, I would advise that you always send a cover letter, even if they are not asking for a cover letter. Rather go above and beyond than not send it and maybe they wanted it. Many companies assume that it is common knowledge that your CV comes with a cover letter. So even if they're not specifically requiring a cover letter, rather send a cover letter. I would definitely advise that.
All right, thank you.
Only a pleasure. Does anyone have any other questions that they would like to ask?
Yes, Charlene. I wanted to ask that when we when we put down references rather of whatever companies or businesses or NPOs or NGOs, do you as the employee regard like NPOs and NGOs instead of just companies that actually pay the person, but registered ones, that is?
Yes, definitely. Please also indicate any experience that you've gained at an NGO and an NPO. Remember, although an NGO and NPO is not a company under the Companies Act, it is still an organization where people physically do work. So yes, please add all NGOs and NPOs under your job experience.
Okay, Charlene.
Yes.
Hi. I have a question. Say, with regards to years that have empty spaces, because apparently that those leave a question mark. Say you studied a course and didn't finish it, then what happens with those? Is it something you need to indicate?
If you didn't finish the course, don't add it to your CV. Only have on your CV everything that you have done.
Okay, they're empty. Are not going to be too much of a problem.
No, rather you don't want to.
Okay.
You don't want to put something there that you've only half done. It is okay if you add your degree that you're currently still busy completing, that's fine. But you don't want to add anything that's only half completed, especially if you've only done
Okay.
it for 6 months and then decided, oh, you didn't really like it anymore and you've given it up. If you're still in the process of completing it, then by all means say busy completing. But if it's something you've done and you didn't like it and you've given it up, rather omit it from your CV.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, perfect. There's a few questions in the chat that I just want to attend to. Vengilo is asking, can we list all the courses we've done as skills? No. Remember, a course is inherently a qualification. You are more than welcome to list the skills that you have acquired in that course under skills. But a course and a skill is not the same thing. So your courses will go under your qualification, and the skills that you have then acquired in the courses you will list under skills. A skill is, for example, organized, very time conscious, you're a good team player. Those are the types of skills that you are going to add to your CV. The next question is by Ntabi Singh. She asked, is a cover letter supposed to be the first page of my CV or the last page? It should not inherently be part of your CV. It should be a separate document in itself. Okay, so a cover letter is not part of your CV. It is a separate document in itself. You can then obviously choose if you want to, when you apply for a job, you have to attach it, whether you want to attach it first or last, but it is not part of your CV. It is a separate document in your CV altogether. Okay, the third question is that when could we expect the letters from Boston? I will have a look into that and give you a specific date with regards to the letters that when you can expect the experiential learning letters from Boston. Let me find out for you and give you a concrete date on that, just so that we're all on the same page. All right, does anyone have any questions? We have 5 minutes left of our class today. So,
Charlene,
yes?
hi.
Hi.
How long should a cover letter be?
Only one page.
One page.
One full
Can
page
it be? Is
cover
it
letter.
okay if it's lesser?
Rather, you will see once you have done the format of a cover letter and you've indicated all the information, it will easily go up to one page.
All right, thank
Okay.
you.
Rather make it one full page. You want to give as much information as you can. You don't want to just have a one-liner sentence, because then it pretty much the cover letter is a waste in totality.
All right, thank you so much.
Okay, and your pleasure. Any other questions from the class? Okay, Revo is asking, what is the best way of submitting CVs? So it all depends on the job that you have applied for. If you see a job ad on the internet and they require you to email your CV to the specific person, you are then going to email your CV to the specific person. If you are applying for a job on a job portal, it will redirect you to a job portal where you will have to fill in all your information and then attach your CV to the application. If you are inherently know of someone in a company, you can always email your CV. So emailing is obviously the best a way in which you can submit your CV. Otherwise, you're also more than welcome to specifically go to the organization to submit your CV if that is required. But because we are in the 21st century, because of COVID, you're not always inherently going to go to the organization. So email is more than sufficient. If you submit your CV by email and you don't get anything back, you're more than welcome to follow up with a subsequent email or with a phone call. Okay, Police is asking, is it a must to have a cover letter? Yes, it is a must to have a cover letter, especially during the 21st century. A cover letter has become exceptionally essential for all job applications. So definitely have a cover letter. Remember, it also tells them a little bit more about yourself in a snapshot without them meeting you. So therefore, it's inherently a first impression on a piece of paper. So definitely a cover letter is a must. How many pages should your CV be? No more than 2 pages. Your CV should not be longer than 2 pages. Remember, I told you prospective employers do not have a lot of time. They are looking at a lot of CVs, and therefore if your CV is too long, they'll probably look at it and go, no, this is too much information, and inherently omit you entirely out of the application process. So no more than 2 pages is more than sufficient. Yes, you can include a picture on your CV, but please make sure that this is a professional photo. So maybe go for a professional photo shoot, or maybe it could be a graduation photo. You don't want to be taking a selfie, or you don't want to be adding a selfie onto your CV. You don't want to be adding you with your friends, with a group of friends, because the prospective employee will not know who you are. You don't want to be adding a picture of you and your family in your Christmas PJs. It must be a professional CV. And remember, it's usually a portrait photo. So just a headshot. You should know what a headshot is, right? Your face and your shoulders. It wouldn't be a full body image. And make sure that you smile and you are dressed appropriately and professionally as well. You're not going to be taking your best picture on your Sunday lounge around the pool or on the beach. Okay, I hope that answers the question. So definitely a picture is great. Or I have a picture on my CV. The picture that you are seeing of me on Zoom is the same picture I actually have on my CV. So definitely. Are we able to use color on your CV? Yes, please use color. These old outdated CVs that are black and white are out the window. So therefore, if you go onto Canva and you look at all the templates that they have, you'll see they've always incorporated colors into their CV, but they stick with a specific color palette. So maybe they go for the blues or the pinks or the greens. You're not going to have all the colors of the rainbow because it will be way too busy. So please go and have a look at Canva. Canva really has really great templates and shows you the use of color because the color is already pre-formatted into the templates. Okay, does anyone have any questions? We only have 2 minutes left of our class. I want to end it before. Yes, go ahead.
Is also writing like a motivational type of thing where you motivate why you think you're a suitable candidate, a must also?
Okay,
or
so
you can just
that motivation of why you are a suitable candidate will be included in your cover letter. You can have a whole paragraph where you obviously motivate your strengths and why you are a suitable candidate, and your accomplishments and the skills that you have. So that will be a paragraph within the cover letter. It shouldn't be a letter separately unless the company specifically requires it. Okay, and Tabi Singh's asking, are we expected to bring a cover letter also for the workshop? No need to bring a cover letter. You only need to bring your CV. We will work on cover letters in the workshop. Okay, I'm going to end it here for today just because of time and the fact that we only have 1 minute left. Should you have any questions, please feel free to ask on the WhatsApp group. I'll be more than happy to ask you, or you're more than welcome to take your questions to Call Campus on the discussion feed, and will also be more than welcome to respond there. So please, if you have any other questions related to this class, please feel free to ask on WhatsApp or on Call Campus. For those of you who have not recorded your attendance, please be sure to record your attendance in the meeting chat by typing your name, your surname, and your student number. But I would just like to say thank you so much for joining me this week. I really do appreciate it. I look forward to meeting some of you next week. I'm the Santon lecturer, so if you're a Santon student, I'll be meeting you next week. So I really look forward to meeting you next week. But to everyone else, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you all have a wonderful week and a wonderful rest of your Wednesday. Thanks so much for joining me, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.